everyone, thank you so much for joining me for a Quick Technique Wednesday. Tonight I've got a great one that's really budget friendly that hopefully everyone can do. We're going to focus on using our inks as our main coloring element, and I'm going to use distress inks. I've also got distress oxides to show you at the end, but you want a dye ink, so something that is going to be water reactive as your main ink. And then I'm also using a pigment ink, so any kind of sticky ink that you could emboss with, we want something that's not going to react with the water ink. So you have a dye ink or you have a pigment ink usually, and they don't work together, so they aren't going to mix together. I'm going to use a stamp set. Use whatever you've got in your stash, stamp set of your choice. It's more of an outline stamp set. And I'm also going to use a piece of scrap plastics. This is like a cellophane packet from a pack of paper, I think. And the first thing I'm doing is I'm going to create my background, and it's so fast and so easy and so satisfying. I could have done this 100 times over, but I stopped at 2 so that I could give you a video tonight. So all you're going to do is take your ink pad, squish it down on your non-porous surface. So if you've got like scrap plastic or if you've got a acrylic block, you could use that. But I like the plastic wrap because it's easily manipulated. You can squidge it down, you can do what I'm doing here and kind of rub that ink around and kind of move it and shape it how you like it. And everyone's got a bit of plastic packaging somewhere in their house. So I'm going to squish down all my colors and then add some water with a paintbrush and kind of mix it up so it's a bit more blobby, and then I'm going to blotch that down on my paper. And if there's any kind of white areas that I want more color in, like with this yellow here, you can go ahead and just kind of lift it and stick it down wherever you want it to go. So pick the colors of your choice or whatever you've got in your stash. Make sure it is a dye ink, and then you can add some water and make it water reactive, and then you get this gorgeous, quick, fast, simple background. And you could do all sort of neutral tones. You could do all just pink tones. You know, you could do like baby cards and have like maybe all pink or all blue. You know, this is such a great background where you can be really versatile with all your colors. So I'm going to then stamp my images. I'm using a grey ink just because I didn't want it too harsh and too dark like a black would give me. So I've gone ahead and stamped my images down, and now I'm going to take my exact same ink pads. I'm going to squish them down onto acrylic block. You could do this on your piece of plastic again as well. I just tossed mine, I think, on the floor, so I grabbed the acrylic block because that was close to me. And then we're going to use a more concentrated version. So we're not using as much water. And we're going to take our paintbrush and just color it in. Super quick, super easy, quite similar to last week's video where I was doing a bit of kind of color blotching, coloring in with the more concentrated ink, but this is great. So you've got that light kind of watercolor version underneath, and then I'm coming in with the darker, more concentrated version with my paintbrush. Now this costs me basically nothing. I've got these ink pads in my stash, had them for years, and I am just squishing them down. So you don't need the re-inker, you don't need concentrated inks, you can just color them in with your ink pad, and you're using the exact same ink pad for the background as well as for your image. So you can see that color difference there, really, really nice. Now to kind of break up that background a little bit more, add a bit more to it, I'm going to add some black distress ink, and again this is a water reactive one, so I'm just mixing it with a bit of water and splattering it down. If you've got paint, you could use that as well to kind of add some splatters. And then I wanted to add some white, and I've got the explosion powder from Lisa Horton Crafts in the chalk white. If you haven't got something like that, then you can use the lightest color that I could find in Distress Oxides, which is milled lavender, and it's kind of a purple, but you can't really see that it's purple. And you could go ahead and do the exact same thing, squish it down on your little block, add some water, and you could splash it down. Now here's the exact same version using oxides. So I used the Distress Oxides for my background, which gave me a slightly paler background. And then I used the Distress normal inks on top, and they're in the exact same colors of each other. And so you can kind of see the difference in the images, and you could take the Distress Oxides and add them down in a more concentrated fashion as well, but it's a lot more chalky looking when you do that. Now I cut up my panel to be just a little bit smaller than my actual card base, and I'm using some grey cardstock to kind of outline the background of it because I've used that grey ink for my sentiments, so I'm kind of keeping with the flow of the grey. And I'm going to go ahead and stick that all together off screen so I don't bore you to death. And I've dug out some alphabet dies and decided that I wanted to do U and then have like a sub-sentiment underneath it, and I'm certain I bought the dies that match this U stamp set, but I couldn't find them anywhere, so I got out my alphabet dies and I die cut out U and I stacked them 3 times. And I actually do change my mind. By the end of the card, you'll see it's white. So I've used the grey to kind of match. But as soon as I put it down, when I lift up that low tack tape, you'll see that my U is a bit too blended into the background. It's a bit too dark. So I do go ahead and die cut it one last time. So I end up with 4 layers and I put white over top of that. So it's the word U is in white in the end. So I went ahead and did that and then added some of those kind of clear water drops. They're like a plastic bead, a flat back bead. Added those on to the front just to give it a little bit more dimension. And that's how I finished off that card. For my second card with the oxides, I decided to step it up a little bit more and add a little bit more character to the card. So I'm using this little panel die. It just embosses into the cardstock, kind of indents it. I'm not sure if it's still available or not. Everything that I can find, I will link down below for you, so you can check it out for yourself if you want. But that one is an old one that I kept forgetting I had in my stash, so I decided to use that up today. I mounted it onto a card base, and then I'm going ahead and sticking my panel right on top of my card at an angle, and then just trimming off the excess with a pair of long scissors. I did the same thing again. I stacked the U with 3 die cuts, and I did a little sentiment, a very happy birthday to, and then I added on some of these Alina Crafts gems. They are flat back sparkly gems. I absolutely love these. And that finished off that card. So 2 quick and easy cards that use up just your ink pads to give a bright, vibrant, beautiful background. Hope you enjoyed this one, and I look forward to seeing you on Saturday for some Saturday night crafting. I will be pairing up with Ardith this weekend, and we are going to be bringing you some fun crafting, switching between our channels. So make sure you tune in on Saturday for that. Take care. Have a fantastic week ahead. Bye.